Jerry Gregoire with Redbird. You're a company that's known for innovation, and this latest thing that you're announcing here at Oshkosh is something that I think is going to be really important in a lot of different venues, and it's called Sidekick. Explain that to us.
Well, Sidekick is our latest version of high wire act with no net as we come to Oshkosh. We realized that you can't manage what you can't measure. And in the case of all of these systems, particularly with the simulators and the other things we do, measuring performance is a key part to making the process better, making the training better, and making the student better. The problem with measuring performance and measuring what's happening in an airplane is the modern avionics set have the ability to measure what's going on in the airplane, but no automated way to get the data off. And the fact of the matter is 80% of the fleets that are out there don't have that kind of capability. We had to come up with some technology that allowed us to measure all of the things going on in the airplane without making any connections to the airplane and automatically offloading the data without the pilot or the student getting involved. This is a very strange piece of equipment. It does some very remarkable things that you wouldn't think a device that's not connected to anything could do. For instance, it knows who's flying the airplane. It knows what airplane it's in. It knows when you've turned on the master switch, what the RPMs are, when you started the engine, when you've left the ground, what maneuvers you flew along the way, how many landings you made and where and how hard were the landings. And all of this is done with the sensors that are inside the box. And the box doesn't even need power. It carries its own power along. It's not the coolest thing in aviation, but it's the coolest thing in flight training. We've been obviously testing it ourselves in San Marcos at the lab, but we began field testing with ATP flight schools in October, Aviation Adventures in Virginia, and we're going to actually be sending one off to the flying club that AOPA has. So all of these devices are going to be out running.
Tell me, if you can, in kind of layman's terms that even I can understand, how does it know who's flying the airplane?
You know, we spent a lot of time developing these technologies, and we're going to spend a lot of time here at Oshkosh telling you what it does. We're not going to spend any time telling you how it does it. So I feel really bad about that answer, but that's
well, I understand it's proprietary, but is there anything that you can tell me that would explain how it knows who's sitting in the pilot's seat?
Yeah, well, in that case, the students carry technology along with them that tell us who they are, and we all do in our pockets and every place else. So it's a matter of this device has its own ability to wake up at appropriate times and reach out and grab data from the environment, and it knows what's going on.
And you talked about some of the parameters that it will record. How does that translate into the flight training scenario?
When the device senses that you've come home, meaning it stopped moving, it's on the ground, it recognizes the airport it's at, and it notices that you flipped off the master switch. It says, okay, time to send the data, and it uses the same technology they use for NASCAR telemetry, which has got a really long range, and it sends that data off in a burst to the cloud, where the data is unpacked and decoded and interpolated, and then by the time the student and the instructor get into the building, they can sit down in front of any computer, bring up that website, and go through and look at all that data, include full recreations of the flight. The data then goes off to the student's log. It goes off to the aircraft's maintenance logs, so it can tell you when you're 3 hours away from an oil change, as an example. It can even go off to QuickBooks and generate an invoice for the students. We think that most of them will stay in a particular aircraft, and since they carry their own power along, they only need to come out of the airplane maybe every 28 hours of flying to get recharged. Or if you can plug them into the cigarette lighter in the plane, you never have to take them out. They'll just stay charged. So.
Is this eventually a consumer product, something that a pilot might want to buy to be able to keep track of his flying?
Yeah, I mean, it's for every pilot, because imagine being able to share all of that data instantaneously with your maintenance shop. So all the maintenance records are being populated automatically about number of engine starts and landings and all of that other stuff. These kinds of services are available today for the big jets, Sescom and Camp and those companies do that for, this takes it all the way down to the 152 level and provides all of that same capability and data. for maintenance and logs and everything else. It's going to be comparatively inexpensive. Nothing's very inexpensive. It's going to be pretty inexpensive, and the subscription services are even less expensive. So we think it really has legs. The weird thing about Sidekick is it doesn't really care what it's traveling in. You could stick it on a farm tractor and you'd get the same data, except the landings. You wouldn't get any landings, but it really, it's for anything that moves. You can put it in there and record everything that happened along the way. So.
Well, Jerry, we've always come to expect something innovative from you, and you have certainly not disappointed this show. Good luck with Oshkosh this year. It's great to see you.
Well, thanks. It's great to see you. Thanks, guys. Have a good time.
Aero-TV is brought to you by
Explore no-limits flying in the FAA-certified Sea Ray Amphibious LSA, one of the top 3 best-selling LSAs in the U.S. Progressive Aerodyne Sea Ray comes equipped with a Rotax engine and exhibits extraordinary handling on land, water, and in the air. Check it out at www.searay.com.